Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and what the hell did I just watch? The Mandalorian. Holy crap! This is out of this world, man. This is literally in a galaxy far, far away. Dude! Okay, alright. This appears to be set. I'm just going to give you a review. Again, it's spoilers in case you can't see the thing on the bottom. Spoilers, okay? I watched it. You watched it. If you didn't watch this, go watch it. There. From this point on, spoilers. Hey, did you see the part where Jabba the Hutt came back? I'm joking. Anyway, check this out, man. Freaking Mandalorian. This is a show. This is going to bring you history that was only ever in the EU. And a whole bunch of other history that we've never actually seen before. This, in case you guys are wondering, the EU is the extended universe. Sorry, there are some people who aren't going to get that. That means anything that didn't actually happen in the movies, this is considered EU. So all those lengthy books that had come out before Disney went and bought them, that's all considered part of the expanded universe, lovingly referred to as the EU, according to Disney. And you know what? I'm good with calling it that. I'm good with that. Anyway, it's a bunch of people, whole bunch of people talking about how they didn't like this movie or that movie or those movies. Do you like the prequels? You know, do you like the prequels now that the post-quels are out, the sequels are out? Like what exactly? You know what I'm saying? We don't know. But I'll tell you something that all of us, I think, are going to be able to agree upon, and that is that this show, wow. Bro, I think I've seen pretty much everything Star Wars ever. I haven't read all of the books in the EU. I never got into like the Rogue Squadron and stuff like that. But I've read a hell of a lot of the books in the EU, all right? I'd say maybe half, all right? Maybe half of them. But dude, wow. All we need to do is see Thrawn in this at some point, and then I'm just going to like blow a gasket. So, we're going to start off the Mandalorian, all right? Just some random Mando. In case you guys don't know, most Mandalorians, they're not actually from the planet Mandalore. They're kidnapped, basically. Like, let's say Mando goes out, he's got a hit out on somebody, boom, 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 kills people, and all of a sudden, like, here's this orphan kid. Particularly, it's this orphan kid who looks like he might actually be kind of tough. Now, some of the EU books have alluded to this. This episode does more, I think, to solidify the idea that Mandalorians are supposed to be Spartans in every way, shape, and form imaginable. I've often gotten that idea ever since I started reading the expanded universe, because Boba Fett sure as hell didn't explain it, you know, in this regard. Like, Boba Fett was amazing, his costume was awesome, just, you know, he didn't talk a lot, blah, 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 whatever. Most people don't get the allure of Boba Fett if you didn't start watching those when you were a kid. You know what I'm saying? But if you did watch those when you were a kid, you're just, the biggest insult to our imagination was that Boba Fett was just so recklessly killed, you know what I'm saying, and eaten by the Sarlacc, for crying out loud. But he's got a great history in the EU where he actually escapes from there. In fact, this TV show originally was supposed to be about Boba Fett. The Mandalorian was actually supposed to be about Boba Fett specifically, and we may very well see him at some point. For now, this is an entirely different Mandalorian, all right? Taken from he himself. He explains it. It's explained that he was taken when he was a kid, orphaned, and then taken there and then put through all sorts of trials of combat and taught how to track and fight. And yeah, like the Spartans, all right? Wound up becoming one of the best of the best. Because if you weren't one of the best, you were killed. And that's just the way it works. You know, a lot of their contests are to the death. They didn't explain that in this EU, though. So, forget about it, man. Oh, dude. And my recommendation is, seriously, go to a yard sale, all right? Try and find a yard sale or something like that, or a library sale, where you can find some of these old books. Just grab some. If it's out of order, whatever, just read it. Just read it and enjoy yourself and immerse yourself in this history. It's going to make you enjoy this so much more. So if you watch this show and you're like, oh, yeah, just wait. Just wait. This does more to restore Kathleen Kennedy, I think, than anything imaginable. But Jon Favreau did this. Jon Favreau, mind you, he's the guy who made the MCU happen. Everybody's like, Kevin Feige, Kevin Feige, Kevin Feige. Kevin Feige is the genius behind it right now. But none of this could have possibly happened without Jon Favreau. He's the guy who directed the first two Iron Man movies. Didn't direct after that because there were too many problems with the management up there. Bob Iger specifically. Bob Iger doesn't have anything to do with the MCU anymore. It's all Kevin Feige now. So maybe we can get Jon Favreau to come back and direct something. But I'm telling you, like, he didn't have his hands tied with the first Iron Man movie. In fact, he got to do whatever he wanted because he's the one who put up all his own money to make that happen. That's who this guy is. When he gets on board something, it's because he believes in that thing. So if you see Jon Favreau's name attached to something, and you see it multiple times in here, including written by, I promise you it's going to be a damn good show. And look what just happened. Look what just happened. So the Mandalorian goes in to collect a bounty. There's this dude, and I don't know if these guys were bluffing or not, talking about taking this guy's gill sacks and whatnot because, oh, it's got this cool perfumed musk and, whatnot. It could have just been a bunch of bluster. Who knows? But turns out the dude had a bounty against him. For what? Who the hell cares? All right? There's a bounty out for him. Mandos don't talk a whole lot. They also don't remove their helmets. You learn a lot about their history in here. All right? How do they eat? Well, in general, it's theorized they only eat once a day. And they eat, in the morning to get themselves their energy, and then they go out and you got to earn eating again. And that happens by surviving the day. They bring back money to help out their people because their people have been displaced, mostly because of the Jedi. Yeah. We see some of that in the Clone Wars animated TV series. But you get a whole lot more in that beside that. There is a blood debt against the Jedi. So any Jedi, fair game. For a Mando, oh, hells yes. You saw a good chunk of that with Jango Fett over here. I don't want to pull him down, but, whatever. Anyway, yeah. Oof. Goes in, he's going to collect this bounty. Doesn't have a lot to say. Something that I loved about this is he carbon freezes the guy. In fact, he carbon froze a whole bunch of people. He had a whole bunch of bounties that he collected. Put them together like that. This adds to the lore. See, Boba Fett was the first person to do that. And if you watched Empire Strikes Back, it wasn't really his choice, but it happened. And hey, it wound up making the target talk a lot less. And, Han Solo can talk a lot. So, I love you. I know. One of the coolest moments in freaking history. Let's just face it. So I guess that this Mando and several others probably have assumed this role because he actually has this carbon freezing tech modified and made portable and available on his ship. So awesome. Very awesome. I dig on that. I definitely dig on that. There's some people who brought up, why did they even bring fuel into the Last Jedi or whatever freaking, thing they were, the Force Awakens, yeah, the Last Jedi. Because they did, and it only makes sense that they would have fuel on there. We're talking about, to me, this is a society, a galaxy that their galaxy is in the past to us. Remember, it's called a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So a ridiculously far away galaxy in the past. So why do they have future tech? Do they? Do they really? It looks like this is a galaxy at war. The whole place is just in disarray, which is why they needed a place like, something like the Imperials to come by and show them what order actually was. Unfortunately, it was a tyrannical order. But that's what they needed. There's a whole entire, galaxy-wide society based on survival and war. So you got holotech, which is, okay, cool. There's some benefits to it. There's some negatives to it. But whatever, bang, that's what it was. What was there before that? We don't know. We don't know. But they've even still got slug throwers, which is basically guns that fire bullets. And then they've got blasters, which use a form of Gauss technology to allow them to fire them in space. See, these things are explained. One of the things my wife says, my wife is a huge Star Trek fan, much bigger Star Trek fan than a Star Wars fan. She loves Star Trek, but we were just watching Return of the Jedi again recently. First time for my kids, 4 and 6. And they were, they were watching this and they were engrossed in this. They just found out about Darth Vader and who his lineage is in the previous movie. So they're like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? Anyway, So she makes a very positive comment about Star Wars. Like, besides the fact she's like, it's always just fighting. It's not a whole lot of thinking and blah, blah, blah. It's like, but you think with the Force, shut up. But she says at one point during the movie, she's like, Star Wars does make a lot more sense than Star Trek as far as the aliens are concerned. Because in Star Trek, all you have are these bipedal aliens that all look alike. Yes, that's true. They pretty much all just look alike. In Star Wars, you have vastly different aliens. And that's exemplified in this TV show. And I love that. Also, the idea of the droids. Hey, if you saw Attack of the Clones and all of those prequels, you should know why the galaxy mistrusts droids, right? That's the whole reason why. Even in the first movie, the first original movie, episode 4, what do you call it? New Hope, it was labeled. There's the part where they walk into the bar in Mos Eisley, and they're like, hey, you droids, they're not welcome here. They have to wait outside. Yeah. Droids are not trusted amongst regular people because, well, the droid war, the clone war and all that stuff. We needed those clones to fight off these droids. They went crazy. These are regular civilians who don't understand what's going on in the galactic world, the galaxy, basically. They don't understand why the Galactic Empire suddenly took over and whatever happened to the original alliance, like nobody knows, the Old Republic. Nobody understands necessarily where that all came from. It's all just rumor, hearsay, and gossip, So anyway, fuel is mentioned in here. The guy goes to collect his bounty, and here's a little bit of time placement here. He goes and says, Imperial credits. Buddy, I don't know if you heard, but the the Imperials are gone. The Galactic Empire is gone. It's over. They're like, well, that's all I got. They still spend. I think that was Carl Weathers. They said that Carl Weathers was in this. I'm like, Carl Weathers? You mean the guy with the Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Predator? Hey, Dutch. You're getting weak, old timer. This desk job making you weak. Saying like, oh my God, Carl Weathers. Apollo Creed, for crying out loud. I must break you. Huh? This was, oh my God, this was amazing. So, it says, I could pay you in calamari flan. It's like, but I can only give you half. That's all I've got. And Mando says, fine. A lot of us are madly in love with the Mandos. I know a lot of you guys are, some of you guys who are first time here, to my channel, you're seeing all these, besides my Infinity Gauntlet signed by everybody who created the Infinity Gauntlet, except Ron Lim. I got to get Ron Lim. But everybody else who matters, I'm saying? George Perez, Jim Starlin, Joe Rubenstein, there we go. But besides that, on the wall, I've got all these lightsabers, right? I got all these lightsabers. You guys are thinking, oh, he collects lightsabers. Yeah, you know who else collects lightsabers? Mandos. That's the reason why I got them up there. Loves me some Mandalorians, man. Love me the history of some Mandalorians. So to somebody offhand, you might think right away, oh, well, this is bull. He only accepted half. He should have freaking, shot the guy. It shows that times are tough. They start talking about, because he right away says, so what else you got for me? Because there just isn't anything else out there. Oh, it's shower time. My hair's starting to part by itself. Anyway, so says, well, there's this, there's that, there's that. This one pays 5,000 credits. Guy's like, that's not even going to afford fuel. That's not even going to give me my fuel. So he's like, well, there is one, but there's no middleman in this one. I got to direct you directly to the guy. It's all right, fine, I'll go. Doesn't trust. He shouldn't. But he goes up there. As soon as he opens the door, sees 4 stormtroopers. And we just established that the Empire was over. And these are the original stormtroopers. These are not those New Order stormtroopers. These are actual regular stormtroopers. And their armor is just jacked up, like bird marks all over them. These are, survivors. But this is still the remnants of the Galactic Empire. These are the people who eventually, depending on which books you'll read, but for the most part, these are some of the remnants that eventually Emperor Palpatine would come along and start reforming, bringing them all together while the Alliance fights the Yuuzhan Vong. Again, go and read the EU. So this is very cool that they do this. Now they're trying to get a hold of somebody. This is there's this guy that got a bounty, 50 years old, this person. Mind you, the Mando is really good at bluffing, amongst other things. 4 stormtroopers who apparently can't hit anything, right? They can hit things. Shot Princess Leia in the arm, you know what I'm saying? Shot R2-D2. They hit a lot, all right? They hit enough. Anyway, for these minions, they hit enough. So there's 4 of them, close quarters, and somebody walks in the room and the Mando's like, oh crap, boom, pulls out his guns. He's ready to start, taking some suckers out. But there's only one of him. He's got 2 guns. These guys, all point blank also, 4 of them, kind of spread out on 2 different parts, and this guy can't see everywhere, in that helmet. They show that the helmet is sometimes impeding, but it's part of the culture, take it off. It's like, you guys put your weapons down first. There's 4 of us. Maybe you can't count, buddy. I like those odds. He doesn't like those odds. Nobody would like those odds. All right? Yip Man and Bruce Lee would not like those odds in real life. All right? So no, I don't want to hear that. But it's a good bluff. And it worked. It worked. This guy is expensive. He does what he's got to do because he is neat. Too many of the bounty hunters that are out now, because the Empire has collapsed, they're messy. They're just like, oh, you want to hunt this guy down? All right, but no promise that he'll be alive. In fact, it'll be easier to bring if, he's dead. You know what I'm saying? So, boom, boom, boom. I can't identify this guy. Okay, but it's him. I need to get paid. Like, that's what I can only imagine the state of bounty hunting is nowadays, But the reason why they'll be, a lot of people are willing to take on a Mando or a few people, I should say, is because of this. Business is booming, but unfortunately, a lot of people just don't care. They're not about that clean thing anymore, where, people are starting to take out debts nowadays. They're starting to collect on debts. It's like, oh, this guy pissed me off, so I want him killed. And they don't care about the mess. They just don't care, So anybody can be a bounty hunter nowadays. So the Mando, he's not in full demand anymore. I'm telling you what, man, I've got the toy down here someplace. I just have to dig them out. But I actually did get my hands on the Mando toy, the IG-11, and the Cara Dune. Cara Dune we didn't get to see in here. That's Gina Carano, MMA extraordinaire. She was in the UFC, I believe. So she wasn't in this, but IG-11 was. So this Mando goes to collect this bounty. And, God, I can't wait till you find out who this was. Or what this was, I should say. Oh, my God, this is such an amazing show. There was humor dropped in here. Sometimes very rarely at the expense of the Mando. But it was deserved. Like, he's learning lessons as he goes on. And this is, you have somebody like, Boba Fett and Jango Fett. You're seeing the absolute best of those best. You know what I'm saying? It's like, here's all these Mandos that prove to be better than everybody else. Well, these guys are better than all of them, The Mando is strong with them. But here's this guy, he's a regular Mando, which is more powerful than any of us could possibly imagine, but he's still just a living being. He gets jacked up in this. He gets jacked up big time in this. You start to see some of the culture when he goes and meets up with one of the blacksmiths there who makes him a new shoulder pauldron that he didn't have before. Of course, he winds up jacking up something over here. That's his flamethrower, I believe. Dude just gets himself, he just gets himself jacked up in a major way by this one two-legged beast. Well, two-legged hopper type beast. I forget what they're called. And this other dude shows up and reins them in. And his price for helping him, the Mando thinks is steep because he's thinking on his terms. And I love how we all think on our own terms. You know what I'm saying? We all see the world through our own filters. This guy sees on his own. He's a regular guy. He wants peace in this planet. Everybody comes here for peace. These guys who are here, who have your bounty, dude, they're not they're not here about peace. Everything will go back to good again once they're gone. So I don't need half of your bounty. I just want the thing that I asked for. Wow. I love this. I love this. And he's the guy who's always like, I have spoken. I love that. Every so often I'll say that, and I don't get taken quite as seriously as this guy does. Of course, I say it with a big smile on my face. This guy's dead serious when he says it. So, again, a little Mando history here from this guy who's read a lot of these books. I really hope that we get to see him again. I almost hope we get to see the bounty again, who was placed on carbon freeze. There's a lot of characters I want to see on here again. I don't know if we're ever going to see IG-11 again, but when he shows up, dude, y'all remember Empire Strikes Back, the moment where Vader is looking on and all the bounty hunters and like, we don't, bounty hunters, we don't need their kind of scum here. And Bosca's looking down. That's the big dinosaur looking Trandoshan. He's looking down. He's like, "Argh." Like Bosca's one of the guys who trained Boba Fett. You know what I'm saying? Go and check out the Clone Wars TV series for that again. But that's also in Mando history. And if you look up the I forget what it's called, the Mandalorian series, the bounty, I think is the Bounty Hunter trilogy. They have to go against each other, and there, which is kind of cool. Anyway, so what happens next is interesting because these two, their form of teaming up, the intricacies of IG-11, who again is basically a dead ringer for IG-88. Perfect. And like there's a little bit of humor with him too, but seeing him in action, I don't think my chair could have gone back further because I keep on like every time they show a scene of him, I'm like moving myself back further going, holy crap, dude, this was absurd how amazing it was. And then the end, that ending, when you see what this 50-year-old bounty actually is, and then that little Michelangelo scene of God reaching out to Adam, like, wow. Get the Disney streaming service. Get this. Weekly, this TV show is supposed to come out. I don't sleep that much anyway. So, hells to the yes, I will be watching this. I'm going to be watching this show again and again. I don't remember how many episodes are in this series, but let me tell you something when I say I will be watching this again and again and again. This is an amazing TV show. You're welcome. Guys, go and get this. Get this streaming service. Watch this because you're not going to regret it. And like I said, this really goes on to, like, Kathleen Kennedy got to attach her name to this as an executive producer or whatever. This is going to help her a lot because everything else that she's been putting her hands on, you could tell that she's not really a fan. She can claim to be a fan all she wants. She's no fan. All right? Not really. Maybe she's like, oh, Princess Leia. Cool. Yeah, Princess Leia, the first true Disney princess. Like, really, when you think about it. The toughest of the Disney princesses. Yeah, forget about it, all right? But I'm talking about a whole lot more than that. This was written by fans. This was written by Jon Favreau. This is amazing. You will not regret, what is it, $8.99 a month for this? You will not regret getting this. $90 a year if you want to save 16%. I am all for this streaming service, my peeps. All for this. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.